Hey, welcome to the Fireside Tattoo Network. I'm King Jake of the Fireside Tattoo Network. Um, I hope you like my chair. So this is a solo episode. We haven't done one of these in a little while, and I've had a handful of questions come in. Say again. We haven't done anything in a little while, related, but we haven't done a solo episode in a little while. And we've had a lot of questions come in. So I thought I would tackle at least one. One came in the other day that is similar to a handful that we've gotten over several months. So before I get started, though, I feel ridiculous in this chair. I appreciate you putting me in it. Before we get started, though, go to firesidetattoo.com or tattooimprovement.com. They'll both lead you to the same website, which is our brand new website that looks awesome. Scott Doney did a great job. Lisa Mack helped to design it. Scott put it together, and it's really good. We have a new courses section that has not only our foundations course, Find Your Style, which isn't enrolling right now, but it has Dan Marshall's new plein air watercolor workshop, and we'll soon have Nick Baxter's um, still life oil painting uh, workshop, which was awesome as well. And we have a handful of other things in the works. So if you're not on our mailing list, you should be. Check us out on all the social medias, Fireside Tattoo. So let me jump right to it. I don't want to just ramble by myself. I I got or we received a Facebook question from Al Kinsella from Ireland. And Sean wanted me to read this question with an Irish accent because he likes for me to look like a douche, but I'm not going to do it. It says, "Hey guys, I'm Al from Ireland, and I watch your podcast all the time. Been tattooing around 11 years. I'm at a stage where I'm trying to get to the next level. I found my niche. I do a lot of custom work. I was wondering what you do about bookings, the best way to handle them. I don't want to close my books, but I'm pretty booked up. Is there another way to deal with this? What about passing clients on to someone else in the shop without offending them, or tell old clients that prices are going up? Keep waiting lists down. Push yourself to the next level." So a lot of things that we hear a lot. It's basically just growth questions. Questions on look, my skill set has made it to a new point, and my clientele. A lot of my A clients are now B clients, and my B clients are now C clients, and I'm trying to move on to these bigger and better things, but I don't want to hurt any feelings along the way. And it's just natural growing pains. We've all been there, or everyone will end up there if you haven't yet. Sorry, I'm gonna close this out. And I have a few ideas on it. I've been through it myself. A couple of years ago, I moved from a shop to a private studio. That was a big move for me. And before that, I dealt with a lot of these same issues, moving to appointment only, raising my rate, raising my minimum charge, trying to take on specific types of projects and not taking every tattoo that walked through the door, that kind of stuff. And it can be a little bit intimidating. And you can always think of dozens of great reasons not to do it. You're safe, you're in a comfortable place, you have plenty of work, you make good money doing these smaller tattoos, even though maybe you're not all that um, thrilled about them, or maybe they don't really help you grow all that much. They do pay the bills, and we're always, in some financial crisis or another, it seems like. So there's always a good reason not to make some jump uh, like what Al is talking about making. Let me first talk about how I approach those types of decisions. So I'll think of an opportunity. Let's say, for instance, moving to a private studio from a shop that I've spent 15 years at, and all of my clientele knows me there, and the whole city knows that that's where I am. And if you wanted to see me, that's where you go. And then I pick up from there and I move to a place that has a locked door, no sign, no social media presence, no anything to help to promote myself. Why, first off, do you want to do it? For me, it was freedom. It was the ability to film freely like this, to film technique episodes. And I had a few unique reasons, but I identified my problem. Identified my opportunity. And what your mind wants to do at that point is start to stack up all of the obstacles that are in your way, right? No matter what you do in your life. I have a I'd like to take this new job, but it doesn't pay as much as my old job. But I hate my old job. Everyone deals with it, not just in tattooing. And here's all the reasons I should just keep my old job. We're great at that. We're great at putting obstacles in our way and convincing ourselves to stay put and not take any risk and not move forward. So what I've learned to do to battle that is I identify my opportunity and then I jump over the obstacles. I ignore all of them and I say, what about my life would change if I did this and it worked out perfectly? What are the results that I'm looking for? And I just list out exactly what they are. I can move to a flat day rate and there's no one else in my shop that it would affect whatsoever. I can take only the tattoos that really, really interest me. And if I don't tattoo 4 days a week and I only tattoo once this week and 3 times next week, it doesn't affect anyone except for me. I can set up cameras in that place and no one else is going to trip over them. All these things that would be awesome about me being in a private studio, or all those things that might be awesome about you taking this new opportunity that could pay off in the future. Jump over your obstacles and look at the benefits. Look at all the things that could go right. Once you've convinced yourself, or not convinced yourself, if there aren't enough of those, maybe it's not something that you do. But once you've gone through that and you've convinced yourself, wow, there are a lot of benefits, there are a lot of potential payoffs if this works out the way that I want it to. Then I go back and I say, okay, what are the potential things that are going to get in my way? What kind of obstacles might I see if I take this chance? Well, there might be a change in my income for some period of time. I might lose some of my clientele. I might not tattoo at all. Maybe I go 2 weeks without tattooing and I can't afford the rent there that way. And I identify every one of those obstacles, all the worst case scenarios, and then I say, okay, what can I do to deal with that obstacle? What can I do on the front end, knowing that could be a problem to deal with that obstacle? And I start to look for solutions to potential obstacles. So basically, I take all of the regular decision-making process and I turn it on its head by identifying the opportunity that I want, identifying the payoff, then backing into the obstacles and the solutions. And it makes it a lot easier and less intimidating to take risks and to kind of like visualize your payoff on the front end. So that might have been a little bit long-winded, but it's the way that I approach every big decision that I make. If we're going to try to grow Fireside in some new direction, and it's scary to me because I'm the you know content creator of this organization here, I approach it that way. I say, what if everything went right? What would be great about it? Okay, now what might I run into? What might we run into, and how could we deal with it? And so getting in that mindset, I think, really helps a lot. So enough about that. Back to Al's question. If you decide that you want to, let's say for example, what was one of his, raise your rates. Let's say you want to raise your rates. We'll start with that one. Uh, First off, know that you're just going to lose some clients. There's no way around it. Some people aren't going to pay the new rates. But rather than thinking, I need to raise my rates to make more money, think, what value am I providing for these people that justifies me charging more than the person in the booth next to me? So if this person's $100 an hour and I want to be $150 an hour, what can I do to be worth $150 an hour? And taking that approach, I think, helps you to justify that move a little bit easier. So back to moving to this private studio, I decided to go to a flat day rate. I identified early on that a lot of people aren't crazy about tattoo shop environments, loud, crazy music, elbow to elbow tattoo artists. And so I use that to my advantage. I put on nice, like easy music. I have food, I have drinks, we have Wi-Fi, we take all the breaks we want, and I put them in a relaxed kind of boutique environment. Well, that's worth a lot to some people. They can justify maybe a flat day rate or $50 more an hour or whatever it is because the experience is nicer. So thinking along those lines, I think, really helps to help you make that decision. As far as passing clients off to other artists in the shop, I was surprised when I started doing that, um, at the reaction. I thought that people would think, "Oh, Jake is too big time for me now," or something like that, or like, "Oh, he's too high. He's big money Jake now. He doesn't want my little tattoo." But it hasn't really worked that way at all in my experience. I try to lay it out as plain as I can. Whenever people come to me and they want smaller pieces and I'm working on a day rate, I basically just say, look, I'm in a shop that's just me. I have to cover all of the overhead. It doesn't make, and because of that, I have to work off of this minimum this minimum charge. This is the least that I can charge. This is what it's worth for me to come in and set up the machine. It's not going to be worth it to you for a 30-minute tattoo to pay that rate for me to do it, when honestly, so and so down the street can do this tattoo every bit as good as I can, and their minimum charge is $120. And as a matter of fact, if you want, I'll shoot them a text and let them know that you're going to come in and see them. People don't look at that as Jake is too good for me. They look at it as, man, that guy really helped me out. Not only did he save me some money by not saying, yeah, I'll do your tattoo and charge you 3 times what you should pay for it, he also helped me identify an artist that he thought was going to do a great job on the tattoo for a fraction of the cost. And when you present it that way, you'll find that people don't at all think that you're being too whatever. What's the term I'm looking for? Hoity-toity. Thanks. That is exactly the term I was looking for. Yeah, they don't think you're being too hoity-toity. They appreciate your honesty, and they appreciate that you saved them money and you still got them a good tattoo. And in my case, I can't refer them to anyone else in my shop because there's no one else here, but I can refer them to other shops, and I try to do that. I try to think like, well, who do I know? I know a lot of tattooers in Memphis. Who do I know that I think could do a great job on that? And I don't send them to the same artist all the time. I send them to whoever I think would do the best work for that tattoo. Hold on, I made a couple of more notes for myself. You want to edit this out, or are you just going to leave it in here? You just leave it. As far as the idea, Al didn't bring this up, but it's along the same lines. We've had several people ask about moving from a shop to a private studio. A lot of people are really intrigued by the ideas of private studios these days, because tattooing has gotten so big and because social media marketing has gotten so big. It seems like a viable option for a lot of people. And I get the question pretty regularly: what made you decide to move to the studio, and how did you know that it was something that you could do or wanted to do? And the thing that I started to do when it first occurred to me that I might want to move to a private studio is I just tried to pay attention to what percentage of my clients that walked into the shop that I was working in, Underground Art, and paid attention to what percentage of those people came in specifically for me or came into the shop and ended up with me. Were they referred to Underground Art and then looked at portfolios and chose me? Or were they referred by other clients of mine and they came in because I was there? And when that percentage, I realized that percentage was, probably 90. I don't remember what it was, but I remember looking back at it and saying, yeah, everyone this week came to me. They weren't shop walk-ins that ended up with me. And if I look into last month, only 2 people the whole month were they walk-ins, and I happened to book with me. Everyone else came to me. Once your reputation, I think, has gotten to that point that people are they're coming to the shop for you and not coming to the shop because of the shop's reputation, then you can probably make that move. Now, when you make that move, how you go about it, how you market yourself, all that kind of stuff is probably not in my area of expertise. I'm at a real unfair advantage because of this right here, because of this show. People know the show whether or not I'm promoting my own tattooing, throughout Memphis. People in Memphis know that I do this show, or that Sean and I and Scott do this show, and it's like whatever. It's promotion for us and for my tattooing just by default. So that would be my best piece of advice on when to move to a private space, because you're completely dependent on either word of mouth or online marketing at that point. Because the idea of having a private space and having a front desk person or having shop hours is a little bit difficult, because if it's hard to justify having a front desk person sitting there while you're tattooing the same person all day, and it is even more of a hassle to have an unlocked door while you're tattooing, and then you have to deal with every person that walks in and out. And this place is locked up, and there's no signage, and there's nothing that would indicate that any tattoos were being made out of here. So it is a completely different environment. But let me wrap it all up by saying this: whatever it is that you're trying to do, raise your rates, move to a higher minimum, change shops, close your books, any of those types of things, we go to appointment only, they require a little bit of courage. everyone feels like you need you need I need to have this skill set before I make this move, or I'm not quite confident enough to make this move just yet. And the thing is, confidence doesn't. You don't get confidence first. You get confidence by falling on your face a couple of times and then learning a new skill, and then you gain that confidence. You don't get confident first and then make the move and everything works right. I'll tell you what I think makes the biggest difference. You have to make that commitment to yourself. If you've gone through this scenario and you've said, "Yes, I want to move to a private studio. Here are all the potential great things that could happen if everything goes right. Here are my potential obstacles. Here's how I'm going to solve these obstacles or how I'm going to deal with them as they come up." And you've decided that yes, this is something I want to move forward with. You just have to make that commitment to yourself, and more importantly, you have to make it to someone else. You have to make a verbal commitment. You have to say, "Hey, guys, this time next year, I'm going to be in my own studio." Or in 6 months, my minimum charge is now going to be $800. And when you say that out loud, it changes something. Suddenly you're really committed, and you're going to have to go through some period of courage. You're going to fall on your face. Things aren't going to work the way that you plan for them to. You're going to have to regroup and like dust yourself off and do it again. And that's really the hardest part. Once you get through that, then you start to develop that confidence that you thought you needed on the front end. And that confidence will propel you to the next decision that you want to make, or the next big move that you, or big leap that you want to take. But it doesn't work in the order that you think it does, or that I always thought it did, where once I'm confident enough, or once I know that I have that capability, I will then I'll make that move. Doesn't work that way. You have to just make the commitment even when you're not ready. You just have to say, I think I can. You just have to look at it, judge books. What? Wait, say it out loud. Oh, about closing books. Yeah. So yeah, I think it all. Yeah, he was asking about booking too. I think all of it, any of it, comes back to making that commitment on the front end, making a verbal commitment to other people. Someone. Oh, it's Dan Sullivan once said, "A commitment made to yourself is just a slogan. You have to make it to other people." So whenever you think you're ready to do something like this, make the commitment out loud. Make sure other people know it, and be willing to fall on your face and get it wrong a couple of times before you get the confidence that you need, and before you develop the capability to actually do it the right way. That's the only way to grow. And a lot of people don't ever grow just because of that. I think a lot of times people end up in the same sitting in the same shop forever, doing the same tattoos forever, and never really push themselves to that's not who I was thinking of at all. Uh, and push themselves to another level, and it's unfortunate, because there's a lot of payoff for taking those risks and for developing those capabilities and for falling on your face a handful of times, for getting in front of a camera and stumbling constantly, week after week and year after year. That's it. That's all I have to say about that. Get out there, try something new, and let us know how it works for you. Thank you guys, as always, for supporting what we do, and we will see you next time.